Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today is Friday. It is 9th of August. It is Shravana Masa or Shridhara Masa, Sukla Paksham and Panchami Tithi. So there are no Vishnu events in the calendar. So we shall quickly move into Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, so Lord Brahma speaking to Narada Muni about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Brahma is saying about his personal experiences, even though he has performed so many austerities and he has got a lot of knowledge. He is perfect in the discipline succession and he is the master of even the Prajapatis who are the masters of the living entities. And even though he is perfectly situated in the yoga, in the bhakti yoga, and he is a completely self-realized, but still he could not understand the supreme personality of Godhead. So, and then he says that except to surrender oneself onto the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is all auspicious and all happiness, which will be uh, the lotus feet of the Lord is the shelter for crossing the nescience of this material world. And apart from that, what else is there? Likewise, Brahma was saying, just like the sky doesn't know its limits. Likewise, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he doesn't know uh, his limits of his potencies. So, natosmyaham tat charanam samiyusham bhavachidam swastayenam sumangalam yo hyatmamaya vibhavam sma padyagal yata napaha swantam atapare kutah. So how can anyone can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Even the Lord himself doesn't know. Like sky doesn't know its limits. How can anyone can understand? Likewise, Brahma is putting his tam najagacham. So he could not understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his activities. So in that sequence, so Brahma is further saying that, O Narada Muni, my son, either myself or yourself or the Lord Shankara, we cannot understand the movements of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then, how it will be possible for all other demigods? So, by his external energy, everyone are bewildered in this material world. Likewise, Brahma is saying. So, we are in the Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, chapter 6, verse number 37. नाहं न योऽयं यदृतां गतिं विदुर्न वामदेवः किमुता परेशुराः तन्माया मोहितबुद्धयस्त्विदं विनिर्मितं चात्मसमं विचक्ष्महे न अहं न योऽयं either myself or yourself नाहं न योऽयं यदृतां गतिं विदुः and yadrutam and the factual movements of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yad Rutam Gatim. Rutam Gatim. So the factual movements of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Viduhu, and we do not know. So na aham, na yoyam, yad Rutam Gatim Viduhu. So either myself doesn't know or yourself doesn't know or Na Vamadevaha. Na Vamadevaha. Vamadeva is the Lord Shiva. Na Vamadevaha. Kimuta Paresuraha. And what to speak about all other demigods? Kim Uta Paresuraha. So how can all other demigods can understand when myself and Lord Shankara and yourself could not understand? Tanmaya Mohita Buddha Istvidam Tanmayaya. And by his Tanmaya, by the illusory energy of the Lord. Mohita, and everyone are bewildered. Mohita Buddha, Buddha is the Buddhayaha with such intelligence, with the bewildered intelligence, by looking that I am human, this is dog, this is cat, this is tree, this is a rock. Likewise, looking at by the personal conception, by personal intelligence. That is Mohita Buddha Ispidam. This is the bewildered intelligence. Idam, in this material world. Vinirmitam, which is created by the Lord. So which has got for this material world is created. Vinirmitam cha atmasamam, which is by the dint of the Lord's personal ability. So whenever he creates, the Lord is unlimited. When he creates the universe, it will also be like that. So this is atmasamam, by the dint of one's personal ability. Vichakshmahe, and when we see this material world, we are bewildered by our intelligence. And if we cannot understand this material world, what to speak of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who created this material world? So likewise, Brahma is saying, Naham nayoyam yadutam gatim viduhu navamadevah kimuta paresuraha tanmaya mohita buddha isvidam vinirmitam chatmasam vichakshmahe. So translation for this verse. So since neither Lord Shiva nor you nor I could ascertain the limits of spiritual happiness, how can other demigods know it? And because all of us are bewildered by the illusory external energy of the Supreme Lord, we can see only this manifested cosmos according to our individual ability. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Can I request Sharanya Mataji to read the purport, please?
Hare Krishna. We have many times mentioned the names of 12 selected authorities, Dwadasha Mahajana, of which Brahma, Narada, and Lord Shiva had the list as the first, second, and third in order of merit of those who know something of the Supreme Lord. Other demigods, semi-demigods, Gandharvas, Charanas, Vidyadharas, human beings or asuras cannot possibly know fully about the potencies of the absolute truth Sri Krishna. The demigods, semi-demigods, Gandharvas, etc. are all highly intelligent persons in the upper planets. The human beings are inhabitants of the intermediate planet and the asuras are inhabitants of lower planets. All of them have their respective conceptions and estimation of the absolute truth, as does the scientist or the empiric philosophers in human society. All such living entities are creatures of the material nature, and consequently, they are bewildered by the wonderful display of the three modes of material nature. Such bewilderment is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, Tribir Gunamayir Bhave Ebi Sarvam Idam Jagat. Every entity, beginning from Brahma down to the ant, is individually bewildered by the three modes of material nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. Everyone thinks in terms of individual capacity that this universe, which is manifested before us, is all in all. And so the scientist in human society of the 20th century calculates the beginning and end of the universe in his own way. But what can scientists know? Even Brahma himself was once bewildered, thinking himself the only Brahma favored by the Lord. But later on, by the grace of the Lord, he came to know that there are innumerable more powerful Brahmas as well, in far bigger universes beyond this universe. And all of these universes combined together form Ekapad Vibhuti, or one fourth of the manifestation of the Lord's creative energy. The other three-fourths of his energy are displayed in the spiritual world. And so, what can the tiny scientist with a tiny brain know of the absolute personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna? The Lord says, therefore, Mohidam nabhijanati mam ebhya param avyayam. Bewildered by such modes of material nature, they cannot understand that beyond this manifestation is a supreme person who is absolute controller of everything. Brahma, Narada, and Lord Shiva know what about the what about the Lord took a considerable extent, and therefore one should follow the instruction of these great personalities instead of being satisfied with a tiny brain and its powerful discoveries such as space, spacecraft, and similar products of science. As the mother is the only authority to identify the father of a child, so the mother Vedas, presented by the recognized authority as such as Brahma, Narada, or Shiva, is the only authority to inform us about the absolute truth. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So here Prabhupada is bringing about the statements of this is Yamadharmaraja. So he is the he was mentioning about the 12 authorities. Swayambhu Narada Shambhu Kumara Kapilo Manuhu Prahalado Janako Bhishmo Balit Vyasa Kirvayam. So likewise, Brahma, Narada Muni, Shambhu, Kumara, Kapila, and the Manu, Swayambhu Manu. And then the first Swayambhu is the Brahma. Swayambhu is Brahma. Swayambhu Narada Shambhu, Kumara Kapilo Manuhu, Prahalado Janako Bhishmo, Prahalada Janaka Bhishma, Balihi Vyasakir, that is Sukadeva Goswami, Vayam, that is myself here. Yamadharmaraja is speaking to his Parshvadas about the 12 authorities. So out of those, so Brahma, Narada, and Lord Shiva, they had the list as the first, second, and third in the order of merit of those who know the something of the Supreme Lord. So that is the order. And here Brahma is saying that even myself, yourself, and Lord Shankara doesn't know. How can any other demigods like other semi demigods, Gandharvas, Charanas, Vidyadharas, human beings or asuras cannot possibly know fully about the potencies of the absolute Lord Shri Krishna. So this is the statement. So this we can see in the pastimes of Krishna. So Brahma was bewildered. Lord Shankara was defeated in the battle between the Banasura and Yadu family. So Banasura is living in the Shonitapura. So his daughter is the Usha. So she fell in love with Aniruddha, Krishna's grandson. So, but somewhere or other, uh, the Usha with her friend Chitraleka. So she knows all the mystic powers. So she got Aniruddha brought back to the Shoditapura into her Antapura. So where Aniruddha was living with Usha. Later on, Banasura came to know, and then he was understood that Usha is not she is seeing. So generally, women are not allowed to meet any men, but we could see the symptoms in Usha that she is meeting. So that at the time he could see that Aniruddha was there. So he captured Aniruddha. By the time Lord Shankara was also in his kingdom. Banasura by his talent, so by making so many instruments playing for the Lord Shankara's dance, at the time he pleased, and then Lord Shankara gave benediction. What do you want? That Banasura said, you just live in my country and just in my kingdom and protect me in all the times whenever I need it. So likewise, Lord Shankara was there in the kingdom of Banasura. So at the time, whenever Krishna knows that Aniruddha was in the kingdom of, he was captured by Banasura. At the time, Krishna, Balaram, Pradyumna, and everyone, all the Yadu family came to fight with the Banasura. At the time, Lord Shankara also came. So there was a very peaceful battle between Krishna and Lord Shankara. Everyone in the sky, all the demigods were watching what is happening. So it is the most exalted fight. And Krishna is defeating Lord Shankara in every way. And finally, so Krishna took a chance and he used a yarning weapon on Lord Shankara, and then he was fatigued and started yarning, and then he left the battle. And then later on, he came and he asked for to protect Banasura because he is the devotee of Lord Shankara. So, and then Lord Shankar prayed to Krishna, saying that I am your ego. I am your ego. Brahma is your intelligence. Likewise, he was mentioning in his prayers. So Lord Shankara was bewildered and Brahma stealing Krishna's friends. And then he hidden somewhere, and then Krishna he manifested his again by his own internal potency, so many of his friends. And then whenever Brahma came back and see it, and then he was bewildered. And then once he wanted to meet Krishna at the time, he was saying Brahma has come to meet Lord Krishna. Then Krishna is asking which Brahman. Then again, Brahma was bewildered. Is that there are many other Brahmas apart from me? Likewise, later on, many Brahmas came from different universes. At that time also, Brahma bewildered. And also Narada Muni, uh, so he is also when in the Dwaraka Leela, when Krishna was with all his queens, 16 Dvasta Sahasra queens, he wanted to see what Krishna is doing in each and every palace by looking at Krishna's pastimes. Wherever he is entering into the palace of Krishna's with different queens, there Krishna is inviting him and worshipping him in the usual way, like that he has not seen him before in another palace. He is visiting so many other palaces. Everywhere Krishna is. So Narada Muni was bewildered like that. So all his Lord's activities are Yadrutam gatim vidurhu naham na yoyam. No one can understand na Vamadevaha. And also on the other time, and Narada Muni was thinking that I am this perfectly self-realized person. Likewise, he was thinking and he has been meditating, and then he was coming. There is another pastime of once again how Narada Muni wanted to get marriage with another woman. So that is once again the Lord's illusion on Narada Muni. Narada Muni was bewildered later on. But of course, it is also for his benefit only. Lord explains later on. So everyone are bewildered. Not only the demigods, semi-demigods, Gandharvas, all highly intelligent persons in the upper planets. The human beings or inhabitants of the intermediate planets. Everyone are bewildered. And also, and apart from that, and Durga Devi, she is also working under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That we know in the Krishna Leela. So whenever Krishna says, Durga, you just go and appear as the daughter of Yashoda Maya, and then um, you transfer the Balaram, who is in the womb of Devaki, into the womb of Rohini Mata. So he instruct. So he did not request. He just instruct. He orders the Prakriti. So that is the everyone are working under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So and here many other living entities they have got their respective conceptions and estimations of the absolute truth. So here we how do we understand here also in our sangha and so many devotees are their individual understanding is different. Individual understanding is different. They understand Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead, but their personal reflections and conceptions are different, and the mood is different. Just like the scientist or empiric philosopher in human society, so they will have different conceptions. They are also bewildered by the wonderful display of the three modes of material nature. So Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, Trivihi Gunamayehi Bhavaihi Yebihi Sarvam Idam Jagat. By the three material modes of nature, everyone are bewildered. So likewise, Krishna is mentioning and Prabhupada is explaining here. So Brahma down to the little insignificant ant, everyone. Okay, and Prabhupada says everyone thinks in terms of the individual capacity that this universe which is manifested before us is all in all. This is all Savai Bhattama Savai Brashtamatihi Tavaishate Yah Karmanam Param Apara Karmanaha Yad Yoga Maya Guna Yoga Mohitam Vishwam Samastam Bhagavan Videhisham Vishwam Samastam. Everyone are bewildered. We do not understand Lord's pastimes. So sometimes mode of goodness is prevalent, some of mode of passion is prevalent, sometimes mode of ignorance. When the mode of ignorance is prevalent, then even the temples are burned, and people in the mode of passion, they are also being defeated by the people in the mode of ignorance. So this is the nature of the material world. Sometimes mode of goodness prevalent, sometimes mode of passion prevalent, and sometimes mode of ignorance prevalent. We cannot understand the Lord's activities. But here, everything, why we are seeing all these kind of things, it will give kind of a suffocation to the living entity that he is not in the right place. It is not the place. It is Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam. One has to experience that so that I do not come to this material world. Unless these are happening, one doesn't feel it. If he doesn't feel it, he is just like a inert. He is like an inert. He doesn't understand the things what is happening in and around us. He doesn't have a proper knowledge. He doesn't understand goodness, passion, and ignorance, and the activities of the Lord, and 24 elements of the material world, that is jnanam. So because of that, he doesn't understand what is happening. He simply bewildered by so much of violence is happening, and so many people are tortured, and devotees are also being suffered. So this gives, but a person in the Krishna consciousness, they will see that it is the Lord's activities only. Give it is making the living entity to experience. This is Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam. So it makes one person very closer to Krishna, but not Bahiranga. So likewise, Prabhupada is explaining here, and all everyone are bewildered by the external energy of the Lord. And all these universes here, this is Ekapad Vibhuti, or the fourth of the manifestation of the Lord's creative energy. Three-fourths are in the spiritual world, Tripad Vibhuti. So that's why here the Lord says, therefore, Mohitam na vijanati mam yebhya param avyayam. Bewildered by such modes of material nature, they cannot understand that beyond these manifestations he is a supreme person who is the absolute controller of everything. So he is always in the spiritual planets, but all his energies are working here. Yatra chadhyapomanste Bhagavan Shabdhagocharaha. Lord can be understood only through the sound vibrations in this material world. He is in the spiritual world. Sattum Vishtabhyavirjam Swanamno Mrudayan Rushaha. So he is always gives pleasure to his devotees in the spiritual world. There are more living entities in the spiritual world. But here, who are imprisoned here, they are stuck up in the material world. And then Brahma is saying that Brahma, Narada, and Lord Shiva know about the Lord to considerable extents, and therefore one should follow the instructions of these great personalities instead of being satisfied with a tiny brain and its playful discoveries such as spacecraft and similar products of the science. These are all material things. One has to always acknowledge the living force behind it. Either it is a man, cat, dog, or a bird, beast, or mosquito, or ant. One has to acknowledge the life force behind it. And as the tatatmani loke cha bhaktiktah samahitah drashtasimam tatam brahman mayi lokan tvamatmanah. So this is again the Lord Garbhodak Sai Vishnu says to Brahma, tatatmani loke cha bhaktiktah samahitah drashtasimam tatam brahman mayi lokan tvamatmanah. And likewise, uh, this kind of statement is repeated in Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, a number of places that one has to acknowledge only the living force, not the bodies. Guhasayaiva nadeha manine, not the bodies. Guhasayaiva, that super soul who is situated. Ishvara Ishvara sarvabhutanam uddeshe junat. That one has to acknowledge, not the bodies. But here, body is under three material modes of nature, it works. But one who is under the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he doesn't come under the external energy of the Lord. Asevayayam prakrtirgunanam jnanena vairagya vijrumbitena. Yogena maya arpitaya cha bhaktya mam pratyagatmanam iha avarunde. One he is a Jivan Mukta, Pratyagatmanam iha avarunde. When he is living in this body itself, he is completely free from all kinds of mode of goodness, passion and ignorance activities. He is not affected. Though it is bodily affecting, he is always conscious of his position. And then, how do we understand? And also about the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Like the mother is the only authority to identify the father of a child. So, Mother Vedas, presented by the recognized authority such as Brahma, Narada, Shiva, is the only authority to inform us about the Supreme Personality of Godhead or Absolute Truth, who is the Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. Okay, that is Prabhupada is very explaining very nicely. And Brahma, this is a practical, one has to experience this. How do we understand? Even Brahma is the greatest devotee of the Lord. He could not understand. Narada could not understand. Even Lord Shankara was bewildered. What to speak of everyone else? Naham na yoyam yadutam gatim viduhu navamadevaha kim utaparesuraha tanmaya mohita buddhaisvidam vinirmitam chakma samam vichakshmehe. So whenever we see such kind of incidents are happening, first of all, we need to keep not to get anxiety, not to go. Of course, we show compassionate to others, but we need to keep our mind steady. What is happening, everything is the external energy of the Lord, and what and all we can do, we do it as a matter of duty. Yajna, dana, tapah, karma, pavanani, manishanam. So one has to perform all the pious activities required for the pranaiha, dehi, riya, vacha, shreya, acharanam, sada, for the well-being of all other living entities. One has to perform, carry out his duty, but at the same time keep his mind steady and understand that it is happening under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not to take anxiety, not to get excited. Of course, we show compassion, we feel the pain of the living entities. Okay, so that is from the Srimad Bhagavatam. We shall quickly move into Srila Prabhupada's daily letter. So today letter to Nityananda, March 21st, 1970, Los Angeles. Can I request any unallocated devotees to read? It's a small letter, please.
I'll read, Prabhu.
Yeah, please.
My dear Nityananda Das, please accept my blessings. I have just received one note from Brahmananda, which informed me that your original set of beads was lost in the mail and did not arrive in the packet which your letter of initiation. Brahmananda has sent one set of new Tulsi beads, and I have duly chanted upon them, and I am sending them to you enclosed herewith. I hope you are doing well in Buffalo under the guidance of Ruponoga Prabhu. Please be sure to chant at least 16 rounds of the holy name daily and be happy. Hope this will meet you in good health. Your ever relation, Sri Bhakti Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Any takeaway point, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu, the takeaway point is clear in here. So Prabhupada is emphasizing on chanting 16 rounds at any circumstances and to be happy. Very bold.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay, so any other devotees you wanted to add anything or you wanted to share anything on Krishna consciousness? Kindly share. Hare Krishna. Ramlala Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Devashir Prabhu already mentioned. That was the main point. Actually, at that time, they sent initiated and they sent by post the Japa bead. So at the first time it was missing. That was for the surprised. So these are the system. But and second thing, he always mentions chant minimum 16 rounds. There is no argument for that, because at the beginning Prabhupada mentioned 64 rounds, then 32 rounds, then 16 rounds, and after that there is no compromise. 60. Even some devotee at that time they mentioned the Prabhupada, please 16 round is too much, but Prabhupada mentioned no, this is the minimum. You have to do that, and it is minimum means you have to do sometimes more. This number. That was his instruction. So, something 16 round in addition, the regulative, follow the regulative principle. Then you can come to back to Godhead. It was his package. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay. Any other devotees? You wanted to add anything else? Or maybe to the Bhagavatam also? Okay, so then that is the from Prabhupada's letter. Chant 16 rounds and keep our spiritual strength. That is, we are seeing this one missing beat in the last 2 or 3 letters. So we need to be careful where we keep the beats, of course. Sometimes when we receive also, and by postal or some way. Okay, so that is carefulness. And from the announcements point of view, so tomorrow morning we continue our Vaikuntha description. We are going to enter into the very beautiful pastime that the Lord is coming towards Kumara. It is a very beautiful descriptions are there in the Bhagavatam. That is tomorrow morning. And tomorrow evening, we are going to start Chaitanya Charitamrita, the new book. It's the great literature by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. We start with the introduction and then preface. So likewise, we continue our journey. And then likewise from today and then next week again Bhagavad Gita and then Chaitanya Charitam. Likewise every fortnight we shift to either book. Okay, so that is our upcoming event. And also I also request if any devotees would like to volunteer to um, make sure that Chaitanya Charitamrita is going on sequentially. I'm happy for if you just to volunteer to supervise that one. Otherwise, we go as a usual pattern. So just continuing whatever is wherever we left, and we continue from that point onwards. Likewise, we do not miss anything from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Every single word of Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita, we cover everything perfectly. This is our treasure, isn't it? Okay, so that is from announcement side from me. And dear devotees, if you have got any other updates or you wanted to share anything on Krishna consciousness, or if there are any other events going on, kindly share. So there are events with Vrindavan Das Prabhuji. So Radha Sevka Mataji, Gaurangi Mataji, Hemlata Mataji, they have been attending, and Bhakti Vikaswa Maharaj is also present in the Leicester. So many devotees are attending. So just for the information I'm giving, I do not know if we can make it out to the Leicester, but I'm not able to go there. So this is the information to all the devotees.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. About CC, when it will be going on?
So from today evening, Prabhuji. So today evening.
Yes. And how it will be? Is the system, how it will be? Reading or explaining or how will it?
So it is going to be the reading. We start with the introduction and we cover paragraphs, and then we see at the end of at least a few paragraphs and then reflection, few paragraphs and reflection. Like that we go through it. Because it is reading, it requires just only the more study and the more we give focus on the reading only. And it's not kind of summary by some devotee is going to give a lecture, just summarizing everything. Not like that. We read everything and then we reflect, and every few paragraphs, one reflection like that. And if any devotee is there to take us through the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we are happy to give that voluntariness to that devotee. For example, Ramlala Prabhuji, if you wanted to take us through Chaitanya Charitamrita, we are happy to hear.
Unfortunately not, because actually if we found, if we can find anyone who is a scholar, actually who has completed Bhakti Vaibhava course. So if I found, if you can find, maybe after 4 or 5 session or even 10 session, someone can give the key point, whatever they read through, or giving the recap the essence of that part. So if you can find someone
Yes.
academically who knows and who knows it, then it will be more beneficial. If you have any devotee, senior devotee.
Yes, sure, Prabhuji. So we'll make our reading, continue our journey without waiting for anyone. But whenever the guest speakers come, then we will ask them to give the key points from these chapters. If we cover 2 chapters, then we ask them to speak the summary of these 2 chapters as a takeaway points. Of course, we have gone through by our study, by ourselves, and we have got that knowledge already. But whenever new guest speaker is speaking and the summary points, then we know what he is speaking, and then that way we remember all the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Chaitanya Charitamrita forever. Okay, thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, anything else, the devotees you wanted to share? And also on Mondays, we keep Bipin Vihar Das Prabhuji is going to speak on the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Of course, we have not yet revealed the subject to be discussed on Mondays. This is on Mondays, weekdays. So Meena Mataji is going to host on Mondays, and Bipin Vihari Prabhuji is going to be the speaker for Mondays. But it may not be the sequence, but there may be Prabhuji's availability. And meanwhile, if other devotees are available to continue the journey of teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and we can also accommodate the guest speakers. So that is Meena Mataji's session on Mondays. So it is going to be starting on September 9th, the first session. That is Bipin Vihari Prabhuji's availability. Okay, so those are the updates. And dear devotees, if you don't have any other updates, so we shall conclude and continue with further japa. सर्वेभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण कॉन्शियस डे एवरीवन।
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य।